Okay. A bright and lovely morning to you from the southern part of Africa to the world. Welcome. I am KL Mogapaesi and I am joined by our sign interpreter, Naledi Marota. And we bring you a very special offering from Golden Key International Honor Society, Southern Africa, Northwest Alumni. And our special guest today is Dr. Tshepi Mogapaesi. She's a law lecturer at the University of Botswana and is currently a postdoctoral fellow at the Michigan State University, where she's carrying out research and alternative dispute resolution in labor law. She graduated with a PhD in law from the Northwest University at the age of 29, making her one of the youngest African women to attain this title before the age of 30. She's passionate about women's rights in the workplace and is developing her research in this area. In this episode, Dr. Tshepi Mogapaesi will take us through her life's journey as she tackles the importance of leadership, discipline, excellence in academics, as well as how it led to her success. Dr. Tshepi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on. How are you?
I'm good. Only it's very early morning where I am, so I'm a bit tired.
Okay, thank goodness
Yeah.
for technology. Um, can you tell us, can you share with us who is Dr. Tshepi Mogapaesi? Where you grew up, when you were born? Uh, who is Dr. Tshepi?
Okay. So Dr. Tshepi is actually me. This girl, this young woman, proudly African from Botswana, and I grew up in Gaborone. That's the capital city of Botswana. So yeah, I think growing up, I was a shy and timid child, and I don't know how I ended up in law. Somehow I ended up in law. And, and I think for me, really, you know, building myself from that timid child, to being a young woman pursuing a career where you have to be meeting people, where you have to be outspoken, speaking and defending the rights of people. For me, it has been a process, of actually learning and unlearning. So I want to believe that I've done a lot of growth, so the person that I was 10 years ago is not the same person I am today. So I grew up, as, that person who was so shy, so timid, but now I've done a lot of growth. And my career actually expects me to, be transforming all the time. So yes, and I don't know if I can touch on family. I come from a large family. I have 6 siblings, so I'm a sister. I'm a big sister. Yeah, and I'm also a little sister to 2 older brothers. So yeah, I am an auntie as well. So I have auntie duties when I get back home. Yeah.
That's amazing. Can you share with us where you went to school, your academic journey leading up to where you are now?
Okay, so I started my primary school in a primary school called Itumelian Primary School in Gaborone, and then I went to Gaborone Senior Secondary. Cecil Sakama Junior Secondary School, and then I went to Gaborone Senior Secondary School. I think our education system is somewhat different from South Africa. So the levels, because I know in South Africa you guys have grades, but then with us we have standards and forms. So yeah, with my metric, what you guys call metric, I went to Gaborone Secondary School. So that is where I did very well, I would like to believe, because I was a hard worker at the time. Yeah, and then that I got very good points that got me a place into university where I got admitted to study for a law degree. So I went into the University of Botswana where I studied my Bachelor of Laws degree, which is a 5 law degree at that university. So this was in 2007. Yeah, so because it's a 5-year law degree, I completed in 2012. It was a long road, very hard, when you are coming from, your junior and senior years of school and getting into an institution of higher learning, where now learning is on your own terms, you learn at your own pace. The professors just come in and give you a whole lot of work, and then you have to manage the work, so it instilled in me, the skill of learning to manage my time, learning to manage my work. But then it was difficult because nobody told me about the fact that I'm going to have to make that transition. But I survived. So in 2012 I was able to graduate with a Bachelor of Laws degree from my university back at home. And then I had a professor who was supervising my final year project, which was actually on labor law at the time. So he actually knew professors at the Northwest University in South Africa. They told them that, okay, there are scholarships for students who are interested in, pursuing further studies. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually interested. Let me try it out. So I jumped on the opportunity. I applied. I was like, I'm going to do a master's in labor law. So in 2013, I relocated to South Africa. It was an exciting and nerve-wracking experience because it was actually my first time being away from home and being away from my parents, so I did a lot of learning whilst I was in South Africa, and it opened my mind a whole lot, because then I was in a totally different society, and I was away from home, and I had to, be independent to a certain extent. So that was the master's journey, which was pretty short because it was a 1-year program. And the academic staff at the university were very supportive. So I didn't feel any, disparity between, my studying at home and my now, living and studying in a totally different country. So I just felt like, oh, okay, it's just the same thing. I actually felt even much better in a master's program than I did for my undergraduate studies. I don't know if it's an issue of now you are grown, so people treat you like an adult, or, so the master's experience was far much better than the LLB experience. I think maybe, growth also, has a contributing factor, because now I knew that, okay, I'm responsible for my work. I need to manage my work and get it done. So I was done with that in 2014. But then for me, when I got to South Africa, I saw a difference in terms of, there were a lot of, at the university I was at, there were a lot of young people who were academics, because I remember my PhD supervisor, she was at the time a very young woman, I think she was in her early 30s, if I'm not mistaken. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is very new to me, because in the university I'm coming from, the culture at the time was, academia was for elderly men and women. I mean, in the department I was at, it was just people who were older than, than I am. So when I got to that university, I was like, hey, this is something new for me. How did these people actually attain this? Because at the law faculty at that university, there were a lot of young people who were actually professors, they were doctors. So then I was like, okay, when I finish this master's, I don't think I want to go back home yet. I'm going to try to get into a PhD program. And then I applied and they accepted me. So I was like, oh, okay, bonus. So let's get it done. And then, well, the PhD started in 2014. It was a struggle. Well, I don't want to lie about that. It was, it was a struggle, but a fulfilling journey at the very same time. Because I think it makes it even worth it, when you encounter some difficulties, because they make you grow, they help you grow. So most of the time when people ask me about my PhD journey, I don't talk too much about what I have learned in terms of the academic aspect. Normally, I talk about how it has built my character as a young woman. So I want to believe, in the 4 years, that I completed that PhD, I have grown a lot. So that was from 2014 to 2018 when I ultimately graduated. So yeah, that was the academic trajectory. I don't want to go back there.
Okay, no, that is an amazing and long journey. It definitely does highlight how much strength you have. And upon completing your PhD, you blew up. You started trending. You trended all over Botswana, South Africa, and also even highlighting a bit for the Golden Key Society. How did you get to trend? How did you even find out that you're trending all over Facebook? Did anyone tag you and say, "Oh my
Uh,
goodness, you're on the news, you're everywhere"? How
Actually,
and also share with us your experience with that. So how you found out that you were trending all over,
okay.
and how did it make you feel?
For me, it was okay. It was a little bit of a shocker because I didn't plan it. I think okay, because for me it was just okay. I'm writing a post, letting people know that I have now graduated. Because some people knew that I was studying, some did not know that I was studying. So I think okay, I made a post. It was public, and you know how when you have when you set your audience to be public on Facebook, anybody can share that particular post. So I made a post just innocently, like, okay, I have graduated, and this makes me the youngest woman is insofar as Botswana is concerned anyway, to get a PhD. And I think at the time I was the third woman, you know to actually get a PhD in Botswana in law. So it was just an innocent post, which was public. I think that the catch was it was public. So because it was public, then it means people started sharing that post and then it became viral. I did not plan it. I don't know how that happened. But then, when I actually looked at the questions that she shared with me, I was like, okay, I just had a little self-talk, like, okay, if I could go back, I would change that audience to not be to not be public. I did not plan that, like, because then now it opened up a whole can of worms where people just know me. So people just know that, oh, okay, that particular lady, because even some people took that post to LinkedIn. So even on LinkedIn now, people just knew about me. So then I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. At the time, I was like, okay, wow, this is too much. Even now, I still feel like if I could go back, I would actually, change the audience to make it, just to my friends. But then I don't regret anything. I think, the reason it happened for a particular reason, to actually motivate other young people that, if I can do it, you can do it as well. So I think, it was meant to reach certain people at the time. So it is fine. It happened. Yeah. So I think I actually saw that I was trending when now I saw that a lot of people were actually sharing the post. And I got a lot of friend requests at the time. I was like, okay, this is so weird for me. Even the comments under the post, there were so many, and I could not reply to all of those comments. So I had to now say, okay, I'm ignoring it now. I'm no longer going to pay attention to this particular post. I'm going to move on, from this. Yeah, although the experience of graduating was still, I think it stayed with me for a month, where I was just, basking in that glory of, oh, I now have this title by my name, I get to call myself doctor. People get to call me doctor. So it was kind of like, because when people were asking me, I was like, it's like I've been baptized, although I haven't been baptized in terms of any religious conviction, but I was like, okay, I feel like I've been baptized, there's been some sort of rebirth of some sort, so for that particular month, of October leading into November, it just felt like, oh, I'm a new person now. I'm so new, just because of that title, So yeah, it was fulfilling, but the post was like overwhelming.
Well, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
And I can understand you saying that it is overwhelming, but we need to celebrate people like you, for any age group, because the more inspiration we have in our lives, it kind of uplifts us instead of
Yeah.
bad news every
Mm-hmm.
single day, being worried about this and that. It's good to have good news once in a while. I feel it should be that we should have good news every day, and that should be majority of information that we consume
Yeah.
versus the negative.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you made it public. Um, then because now even the younger generation are like, I want to be just like Dr. Zepi.
Yeah.
So that is just amazing. And to have you as one of our own Golden Key members trending. Um, with that being said, you mentioned something about not having regrets. Now that we getting to talk to you, we want to get a little bit interesting. Do you have any regrets in life? If you had to do it all over again, can you share with us one or two things that you'd be like, no, I should have taken a left instead of a right?
Well, okay, I don't know if this is in terms of professionally
Any,
or personally. Okay, I
any.
think professionally, okay, because of the opportunity that I got at Michigan State University, it's a mentorship opportunity. So I'm not doing any active studying in the strict sense. So I'm being mentored on how to be a better academic. So one of the things that I have learned here is that it's okay to say no to certain opportunities, even if they are being given to you on a silver platter. So for me, if I get to be asked if I have any regrets professionally, I would say, well, yeah, certain opportunities really I can let them pass. Like I don't have to jump on it, and certain opportunities, you actually have to dig even much deeper and see if they are a good fit for you before you apply and get accepted. So for now, I wouldn't say I have any huge regrets professionally because I think I'm still starting up. I'm starting, so I'm at a very early stage of my career. So I haven't made any huge blunders in terms of my career. Only I know that I have found myself being pushed into certain positions, by those who are my leaders because they want me to grow. But I cannot regret that. I mean, it has helped me grow. I believe it's actually contributing to me one day also being in the leadership positions that they are holding. So professionally, I don't have any regrets. No, I don't regret anything. And then personally, personally as well, I want to believe that for every decision that one makes, there should be a lesson that they can learn. I actually read something somewhere where someone was saying that, it's actually better to, try something and then fail than then later on regretting never taking a chance. So for me, it's like, okay, I'm just going to take chances. If it works out, good for me. If it doesn't, then I want to believe that there's something I'm picking from that particular experience. So I don't regret anything at all. So even personally, whatever bad decision I have made in the past, I get to say I'm celebrating that because it has actually helped me grow to be a much better person. So no regrets whatsoever.
Oh, you're truly an inspiration. I'm just getting goosebumps. That is amazing. And throughout your life's journey, do you have a particular motto that drives you? That particular quote that you live by?
Okay, I would say I think this has been coined by someone. I apologize for not quoting who that person is, but to thine own self be true. So be true to yourself, be true to who you are, because I've actually realized that the more you are true to who you are, the better, it becomes for you to actually, navigate life. You won't have to pretend, you won't have to put up a facade. Just be who you are, and whatever is meant for you, will fall into place, will come to you, So yeah, for me, I'm just going to be true to who I am.
Oh,
So that is my motto.
that
Yeah.
is more amazing. I think I'm saying amazing too much now. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. Is there any advice that you would give the younger generation of women coming up or of any age in terms of that extra nugget of wisdom from Dr. Tepi herself?
Okay, I'll just say that I don't want to say hard work because there's a debate in terms of hard work and working smart. So I'll just say that when you see opportunities, and you believe that you know you vibe with the opportunity, don't doubt yourself. Even if your qualifications may maybe be a notch lower, just try to apply. You never know. You never know what may come out of that. You're trying to apply. So try to show up, do your work. I always emphasize that when I teach back at home, that for me, um, I'm all for a student who shows up and does their work, because I can see that there is effort. Even if they don't do well, I notice the effort. Because somebody can actually be smart, but then if they don't put in effort, then it becomes a problem. So for me, show up, do your work, you will be rewarded. Somehow the universe always rewards you. It will reward you with opportunities. It will put in place the right people who show you opportunities you can apply for, who can, mention your name in rooms you are not in. So show up, do your work. Somehow someone will mention your name.
Right. And
Yeah.
staying ready, because when you show up, you know that you are ready
Mm-hmm.
to take that opportunity when it comes.
Yeah.
Mm. And thank you so much for elaborating so much and opening the door into letting us know you a bit more personally. And now we are going to open up a little Q&A
Okay. Yeah.
from our attendees here. Okay, we have a question from Stephanie Smith. And the question that goes to Dr. Tepi is, how has the Golden Key International Honor Society helped you throughout your journey?
Okay, to be honest, I haven't taken up any opportunity, but I know that they keep sharing opportunities with me. I think it's because the opportunities haven't really been aligned with, my trajectory, which is what I highlighted earlier on, that you'll be given a lot of opportunities. It is for you to actually sift, through what vibes with you. So the Golden Key opportunity, they do actually share opportunities to attend conferences, to attend trainings, and so on and so forth, which can actually be beneficial to young people who are still in university. So for me, I haven't really taken up any of those because at the moment they were not aligned with what I am going for. But I am hopeful that in future, something will come up that aligns with my goals, that aligns with the career path I'm taking. And obviously I'll jump at that opportunity, because even where I am right now, it was an opportunity that was circulated and nobody was applying. I was like, okay, I'm gonna apply, and then I got picked. So I'm always that person who's willing to challenge myself and say, okay, it's me going to a totally different country where I know nobody, where the culture is totally different, but I'm willing to give it a try. So I'll just say to, the attendees that if you see an opportunity and, you believe that it aligns with, what you are doing, don't be afraid, just take a chance, and apply. Yes.
Okay, great. And we have 2 more questions. We have a comment and a question from Tariro D. Matiribiri, and they say, to thine own self be true, with a heart emoji. Thank you, doctor, for reminding us to be okay with trying and failing, then never to have tried at all and living in regret. You continue to be an inspiration. And the question is, was there ever a point in your undergrad where you felt the different laws you were studying were not for you? What drove you to choose labor law over all the other 40 plus laws studied in undergrad? Ooh, that's a lot of laws, 40 plus.
That's a very good question, actually. Very good question. Because when you are doing your Bachelor of Laws, it's a mixed bag of laws. You get your commercial law, you get your land laws, whatever. So for me, I think I've always been one person who has been passionate about human rights. So I started by loving human rights and being able to advocate for the rights of people whom I believe, were less privileged in society. And then when I met labor and employment law, I thought, okay, I can actually narrow that human rights perspective to the workplace, because, workplace rights are actually human rights. So I thought, okay, I also identify myself as a feminist. I am passionate about speaking about the rights of women. So it then became even much easier, because then I was like, okay, I can speak for the rights of workers in the workplace, because those are actually human rights. And then I can also, then narrow it down to the rights of women in the workplace, which, aligns very well with my passion for feminism and speaking for the rights of women. So in as much as, feminism is a broad concept, for me, I then use that broad concept in the workplace and say, okay, I can use that passion I have, for feminism, in as much as I'm not an expert, in feminist discourse, because it's not a law thing, it's a sociology thing, if I'm not mistaken. But I can use my passion and limited knowledge, on feminism to actually speak to the rights of women in the workplace. So for me, it was an issue of just starting to love human rights, speaking for people whom I believe are less privileged in society. And then it narrowed down to, okay, you have these people in the workplace, whom, how workplace dynamics are such that employers have the upper hand, and then employees, because they are not the owners of the economic resources, they rely a lot on the employer to do right. So then you have employment laws trying to strike a balance between the two parties to that employment relationship. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm looking at employees as the parties who tend to be prejudiced in an employment relationship. So I can then pick employees as my point of concern to say I will focus on employees and speaking for their rights in the workplace. But then now I can also narrow it down to speaking for specifically for women in the workplace. So that's how I was able to actually pick what I loved. And also I loved how with labor and employment, it's straight to the point, I'd like to believe. Unlike, where you have, your other commercial laws, it becomes too complicated for me. It was just too difficult for me to actually envision myself, doing something in land law, doing something in tax law. That's just not my thing. So that is why I'm always emphasizing, just be true to yourself. It's just not who I am. So I'm not going to push myself into it. I'm going to go with what I love and what I believe, aligns with my passion. Yes.
Great, 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 great. I love how you emphasized on looking to your passion, and that's where it comes in, where you should already know yourself going into higher learning. That way you will know which programs or which particular niche markets you would like to go into, because then that way we get to live when you're living your passion, it doesn't feel like you're going to work every day. Well, for majority of life.
Yeah.
So I definitely love that. And we'll take one last question from Zanika. And they say, what was your greatest internal struggle during your professional career, and how did you overcome it?
Okay. I would say fitting in. Fitting in. Yeah, and I'm putting that in quotes because you should never, want to fit in. Yeah, but then you'd find that most of the time in work, okay, in certain spaces or in almost any space, people want you to fit in, with whatever the culture is, wherever they are. So for me professionally, coming up as a young professional, the struggle that I've had the most was, people expecting me to fit in, with what they mold. Okay, their mold of, a professional in a particular workplace, because I am young, I am different, so you cannot expect me to be like you or follow the certain culture that you follow, because I'm coming from a totally different age group. So for me, then it became an issue of, okay, but I don't need to fit in. I am different, I am young, so I need to be allowed to be myself. So I've actually learned that it's very important that we have diverse, workspaces where we can allow people to be themselves, be who they are, and not make them feel different, So there's no need to fit in any way. You are professional with that afro hair that you are rocking. You don't have to look any different. If you want to look however way you want to look, that is okay. So I don't know, it's a controversial view, but for me, it has always been, there's no need to fit in. Just be who you are. As long as you respect other people, you respect the workplace, then we're good.
Great. Those are Zanika says thank you. That's amazing. And I keep saying amazing. I am super inspired. With that said, what is next for Dr. Tippy? What can you share with us a snippet of what is next in your quest of amazingness?
Okay, I would say Okay, for now, I'll just say that I believe there's more to come. Although I'm gonna go back home, of course, at the end of this program because I have obligations to fulfill back at home. I don't have to get into trouble. So I'm gonna go back home and resume my teaching activities. But I want to believe that it doesn't end here. We should strive to, you know, have an international presence. There's nothing wrong with desiring to move away from home. For those who are thinking about moving away from home and having an international experience, I would encourage people to actually try that. If you want to study for a master's in a totally different continent, give it a try. Don't be ashamed of that desire to do so. So for now, for me, I would say I believe it doesn't end here, but I'm gonna go back home in the meanwhile to complete whatever I have to complete, and then we will take it from there. Yes. So there's no big news to share for now.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and for everyone who's watching that wants to get in contact with you, you have a Facebook page and you're on LinkedIn and social media. Can you share with us in terms of where you can be reached?
Okay, I'm on LinkedIn. Let me see the username. I'm so bad with. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so on LinkedIn, I'm Dr Mogapaesi, in brackets doctor. So those who are interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn, they may check me out there. And then those interested in connecting on Facebook, Dr Mogapaesi on Facebook. For those interested in, reaching out to be a friend, if you want to be a friend or you want to just follow my posts, you can always do that. I try to keep it a little chilled on Facebook. I'm not that stringent professional person on Facebook. So I'm so relatable. I think that is why my students relate to me back at home. So yes, if you are interested, you can always, add me on Facebook. We can always chat.
Great. And also to prick your brain a little, what is, looking at your passion, what is the one law you think we should have that supports women right now? Because I think it is there is a lot that needs to be done in the workplace, even in basically in every aspect of life, in terms of supporting women. But we've been singing that song for so long that change
True.
will come, but now it is to, do you think even, for example, do you think governments should make it mandatory that 50% of parliament is women? Should there be like gender equality, in terms of, just to pick your brain a bit, a couple of laws, which couple of laws do you think should be put into effect immediately?
Yeah, okay. I personally think that quotas are important in terms of representation in the political space and in parliament where women are concerned. But politics is a totally different ball game. It has its own politics within politics. But I believe that yes, representation where women are concerned is very important. But then it should, okay, the women that we are also putting in those positions, we should be sure, although I don't know how we can be sure, that they'll actually represent the rights of women, because you can put in a woman there, but she may not, represent, the needs and wants of women, who are ordinary in society. So it's important that the women that we, advocate that should actually be 50% there in parliament, they should actually be capable of representing those rights and needs and wants of women who are ordinary in society. So that is very important, yes, to have, but then it has its own politics. Yeah, and then in terms of the workplace, I'd say even in the workplace, yeah, there are women who are doing very well because the laws have actually now changed, to allow for, professions to admit women. Certain professions which did not admit women in the past now do admit women, and then there's actually ongoing debate and changes, in terms of equal pay for equal work. So there is progress, although I wouldn't say it's perfect, but there is that particular progress. But there are still challenges that women face in the workplace. So I think it's a continuous process, for governments to actually, introspect, whenever there are, laws which disadvantage women in the workplace. For me, it's a cause for concern, for a government, trade unions, to actually bring that up and say, government, let's discuss how can we improve, the position of women in the workplace. Because in as much as we do have some very nice laws, you still find that on the ground, women are still disadvantaged in the workplace. And then in your normal spaces, I normally, go back to the issue of gender-based violence because it's a huge issue, in society. I think any society does have that pandemic, of gender-based violence. So for me, because I'm passionate about issues concerning women, I normally don't like to comment too much where the law intersects with, addressing, the issue of gender-based violence, because I know that the law can be harsh, where women are concerned as survivors and or victims, whatever you want to call it. And for me, I would take an approach of, I want to believe the woman. I know lawyers would, kill me if they hear me say that. They'll say, where's the evidence, that this actually happened, So I believe that laws are not very, okay, our laws are not designed, I would say, to actually give survivors of gender-based violence, the protection that is actually needed. So for me, it would be an issue of we need to strengthen the laws. We need to also strengthen the court, the justice system, such that, we ensure that when we have a survivor, a victim, the justice system actually deals with that issue in the most proficient manner. Yeah, because at the moment, I think, things just get swept under the rug. If you report, they just turn you away, go back home, go solve it, so it's concerning, although there are laws, but then still they don't help, eliminate the scourge of gender-based violence.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. Um, thank you so much, Dr. Tippy. Too much inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of everyone watching, it was amazing. This has been an amazing webinar, where we get to celebrate one of our own.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Until next time. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor. Just before all the attendees leave, I just want to ask, can you just please partake in the survey? If you are logging in from your phone, please log into menti.com and add the code there 1631-6634. If you are logging in from your PC, please see at the top of your screen there are 3 dots, and next to the 3 dots on the left there is a Menti icon. You can just click on that Menti icon and add that code, and it will take you to the survey. I just also want to say thank you to this wonderful committee. You have handled yourself so well. It was a lovely webinar. Doctor, thank you so much for your insights. You had me so engaged, ladies, because you were speaking about so many topics that relate to our personal and professional development. And I just want to mention, when you mentioned about equality, in the workplace between males and females, I thought that is such a relevant and contemporary topic. topic. And I love discussions on that. We did do a webinar series last year with a few collaborators. So you're welcome, attendees, to go and look on the Golden Key Southern Africa YouTube channel, Golden Key Southern Africa, for the GBV webinars. And Doctor mentioned something. You know, the GBV in our country is 5.1 times higher than in other countries. And these are the things that we have to delve out. So thank you so much. I found it so refreshing that we are invited to connect with you on LinkedIn and Facebook. And we celebrate you today as a very, you know, we are so happy to have you as the Golden Key member in our family. So thank you so much for your time and sharing with us. It gives us hope, it gives us ideas, and it gives us inspiration. Thank you, committee, for putting this together. And thank you, everyone. As soon as you've completed the survey, you are welcome to leave the session. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Naledi. Thank you, Mogapaesi. Have a lovely, lovely day, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So as we've mentioned, please just stay on and partake at the Menti survey. If it's on your phone, please go to menti.com. If it's not on your phone, if you're on your laptop, kindly click on the Menti icon. Thank you very much.